Hello and welcome back to the channel. Held Dominance, Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe, and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to see more. Coming up in this episode, an international rugby league ban causes a backlash. Leeds Rhinos second rower leaves the club, and Eamon O'Carroll resigns. The IRL Betfred Championship is one of the hardest divisions in all of rugby league, which has its rewards for the most successful club during the season. They join the Super League with promotion after winning the £1 million game. The league has its pitfalls too, as the bottom team goes into League One in relegation. So teams are looking for success whichever way they can get it, and that means the head coaches usually get sacked or resigns, like John Keir, Lee Greenwood, or Simon Finnegan of Bradford, Dewsbury Rams, or Widnes, respectively. But every once in a while, an opportunity comes along that you cannot turn down, leaving the club to go where the grass is perceived as greener. This has happened this week for Newcastle Thunder, who sit 10th after 15 games so far in a well-watched championship season. Head coach Eamon O'Carroll has been allowed to leave the club by the club's board to an unnamed Super League coaching role. The just-turned 35-year-old joined the Thunder in 2020 ahead of the club's return to the second tier, which the club had not seen since 2009. He moved to Kingston Park after a 2-year spell at Catalans as an assistant coach. O'Carroll then renewed ties with Director of Rugby Dennis Betts, who he started his coaching with at Widnes after retiring from playing due to injury. During his tenure at Kingston Park, O'Carroll successfully preserved the club's championship status following the initial elevation by application from the Betfred League One, before overseeing the assembly of its first full-time squad for over a decade. The club also achieved many firsts during his tenure, as he saw out the first ever away win at the championship level over Dewsbury Rams in 2021 and Workington in 2022, as well as a first ever win over London Broncos in May this year. With that, O'Carroll steps down with immediate effect, and it will be Betts and assistant coach Michael Heap who will take the reins for the tie against Workington this weekend. Newcastle Thunder chair Keith Christie said, "I'd like to thank Eamon for his efforts with us over the last 18 months. He's a good person and I'm genuinely sad with him leaving the club. He has worked tirelessly towards the betterment of the club and alongside Dennis has laid some firm foundations that we will be able to build on going forward." Dennis Betts said, "Eamon joined us at an exciting time for the club as we prepared for its return to the championship, and he has been a driving force in making sure we have progressed during this time with us. He has created a positive training environment where players and staff are able to thrive and feel welcome, and has moved the club forward from when he joined us. I'm of course disappointed that he has decided to leave, but I understand the reasons and I wish him nothing but the very best for the future." With his departure confirmed, Eamon O'Carroll said on the 20th of June 2022, "I'd like to say a massive thanks to the players and the staff. It has been a real privilege to be the head coach of a club and to see the changes from the first day that I came into where the club is now is fantastic, and I know it's only going to get better. To have been a small part of that success makes me happy, and I just want to wish everyone the best. Thunder have a great group of players and I've enjoyed getting to know them, helping them develop and get to know their families as well. I think we have built something special, and the exciting thing is that the club are looking to add quality people as well. But I'm looking forward to taking a step back now, and now watching as a fan and seeing the club grow and develop, because I know it will. Dennis Betts, as I say, will take over reins, and they do not come much better as a player than Betts coming into the club and being a head coach, someone to inspire them. Betts was capped 32 times for Great Britain and had a long spell as coach for Widnes Vikings as well, and helped the club feel like a right shot in the arm and a little bit of consistency for the club with someone that has been there from, well, I'd like to say 2018, which is when he was appointed as Director of Rugby. He's also won numerous titles for Wigan Warriors and won 4 England caps as well as playing for Auckland Warriors. So his experience as a player, his experience as a coach through Wigan Warriors in 2004 and 2015, and 8 years at Widnes Vikings. So he knows the division quite well. Let's see if he can get the team roaring and up for it against Workington, as it wouldn't be a bad place to go to get a good result. But don't you worry, Newcastle fans, it's not all bad news this week, as there was a signing made in the last day. After his release from Huddersfield Giants, Oliver Roberts has joined Newcastle Thunder until the end of the 2024 season, and he's eligible to make his bow at this weekend against Town. He's a strong carrier, he's only 27 years old and a product of Bradford Bulls Academy. And 2 years ago, he switched to the Giants, where he made 96 appearances in 2 spells for them. He's also an Ireland international, earning 9 caps, and made his debut in the European Cup against France. He featured in all 3 of the Wolfhounds group games in the 2017 World Cup and could represent them in this autumn's tournament as well. Lining up with his new teammates for the first time in training on Monday, Roberts was looking forward to getting started at the new club. He said, "I'm looking forward to being part of the Thunder. I had the opportunity to sign a 2-year deal from 2023, which I took, and I've now taken the opportunity to come earlier, which I've taken with both hands. It gives me the opportunity to get settled in and get started this year and begin building. Thunder are an appealing club with what Dennis and they are pushing towards building. It's a full-time club and they are going about building the right way, steady towards Super League, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that over the next couple of years." Big offloading forward. Yeah, that's a good signing for Newcastle Thunder. Gives them an extra dimension when they're going forward, and also some bulk in the defence. Full-time rugby league player coming to a full-time championship club. They'll get a lot of minutes, and they'll play against opponents that will hit hard, may not be as physically in tune when it comes to stamina. So you might prosper in that environment. And after being with Ian Watson for the last couple of years, probably has a decent level of skill as well, as he was with him at Salford too. And some transfer news coming our way, as Leeds Rhinos have allowed Alex Mellor to leave the club immediately and join rivals Castleford Tigers on a 2.5-year deal. The move has been instigated so that the back rower can join Castleford with immediate effect, and he's saying that it feels good that he's joined Castleford, and it's been a long process to get the deal sorted, so to finally have it all figured out is a good feeling. It looks like that Lee Radford sees him playing in second row, at which is what Alex Mellor wants to do. Back row suits my playing style. I think I'm a bloke who's going to put his head down and work hard for you. Come up with some plays when I need to, but put my team first and do every little thing I can to make the team better. It's good to be a part of it. You look at some of the signings that we've made and the prospects we've got for next year, it's really exciting. It is not one of those places that you come and aim for mid-table. This is one of those places that you want to be up there, up the table and push. Looking at the signings and the squad we're building, it's definitely something we can do. He said about joining, Lee Bradford is the big reason. I sat down with him the first time and I felt comfortable around him and liked what he had to say. His persona, how he viewed things in rugby. I think the first time we met it wasn't too formal and we got on. I could really see myself playing under him and coming to Castleford to see what we can do. The feeling seems to be mutual for Lee Bradford too, as he said this about young Mellor. He has been on the cusp of England night selection. He's of the age where his best years are still in front of him, and I think he will be a good coup for us. I got a really good feeling for him, and everyone I've spoken to, player and coach, has only had good things to say about him in how he trains and how he approaches training. Competition is what we need, and he will be playing on an edge. This time of year to pick up someone of his quality is fantastic, as he's having him long term too. Hopefully this place will be good for him, as he will be good for us. Another Bradford Bulls scholarship player, and played for them between 2013 and 2016 before moving on to 2017 with the Huddersfield Giants, where he went on to playing for Leeds Rhinos in 2020. Mellor is 27 years old now. He is going to be involved in a progressing Lee Bradford side, and hopefully a good one for the rest of the season. In a world that keeps changing, despite having your head buried in the sand, the International Rugby League Board have come out with a statement in regards to transgender athletes in the sport. The statement reads, the IRL will continue to review and update rules about transgender participation in Women's International Rugby League and will seek to use the upcoming World Cup to help develop a comprehensive inclusion policy. Until further research is completed to enable the IRL to implement a formal transgender inclusion policy, male to female trans women players are unable to play in sanctioned Women's International Rugby League matches. In reaching this position, the IRL, which last reviewed transgender participation in International Rugby League in January-February 2021, considered several relevant developments in world sport. Not the least of these was the IOC's publication of its November 2021 framework on fairness, non-discrimination and inclusion on the bias of gender identity and sex variation. I meant basis, not bias. The IOC concluded that it is the remit of each sport and its governing body to determine how an athlete may be at the disproportionate advantage compared with their peers, taking into consideration the differing natures of each sport. In the interest of avoiding unnecessary welfare, legal and reputational risk to International Rugby League competitions, and those competing therein, the IRL believes there is a requirement and responsibility to further consult and complete additional research before finalising its policy. The IRL reaffirms its belief that rugby league is a game for all, and that anyone and everyone can play our sport. It is the IRL's responsibility to balance the individual's rights to participate, a long-standing principle of rugby league, and it's at its heart from the day it was established, against perceived risk to other participants, and to ensure all are given a fair hearing. The IRL will continue to work towards developing a set of criteria based on best possible evidence, which fairly balance the individual's rights to play with the safety of all participants. To help achieve this, the IRL will seek to work with 8 Women Rugby League World Cup 2021 finalists to obtain data to inform the future trans women inclusion policy in 2023, which takes into consideration the unique characteristics of rugby league. With this statement put out, it meant that some people became very rightly upset about the decision that the International Rugby League have done, because we are an inclusive sport. We have the PDRL, we have the women's game, we have the junior game, we have the learning disabilities game, we have tag, we have wheelchair, and transgender is just part of that inclusivity. And a gentleman named Mike Finn, who is Scotland's Rugby League's Disability and Inclusion Director, resigned from his post over the ruling, stating that the International Rugby League has decided we're not an inclusive sport, and that the IRL yielded to a campaign of hate, stating a solidarity with all trans people, and he will be an ally always. The IRL move comes as a number of sports are considering transgender inclusion. Transgender swimmers were on Sunday banned from elite races if they have gone through male puberty. World Athletics President Lord Sebastian Coe hinted to the BBC that the sport could follow swimming's example, saying set to discuss adopting a new eligibility policy, and that fairness is non-negotiable in that policy. That ban will now mean that the Rugby League World Cup in October will apply to the tournament as well. However, it has drawn criticism from advocates of transgender rights. So, speaking on behalf of CEO of Equality in Australia, Anna Brown said, "Blanket bans on women who are trans playing against other women risk violating international human rights principles of non-discrimination, which requires such policies to start from a place of inclusion. FINA, swimming's world governing body, failed to meet that standard, and Rugby League's ban also fails to do so, despite it being temporary." Rugby League World Cup 2021 Chief Executive John Dutton said he welcomed the clarity the IRL decision has provided to competing nations before selecting their squads for the tournament. It is important that the IRL carefully considers its position on the subject, and the Rugby League World Cup understands the need for further research, he added. We must say that transgender women have already been banned from playing elite level rugby union by the governing body World Rugby, and published guidelines on its website stating that transgender women could not play women's rugby because of the size, force and power producing advantages conferred by testosterone during puberty and adolescence, and the resultant player welfare risks this creates. On the flip side though, Caroline Late played rugby league and union before and after she transitioned in the late 90s, and she is an advocate for transgender women in sport. She stated in an interview, "Further research is great, but I'd also like them to listen to people like myself who have been there and done that," said the Australian 56 years old. "I've got heaps of video of me playing and never really injuring anyone. They don't know what the transition is. People don't understand what we go through and how it negates our performance. Once you've transitioned, you're feminized enough, and you're just another player, and you're not going to add any more damage or to cisgender women rugby players. The RFL are also close to their own transgender ruling and guidelines and reports coming to an end soon, so that it can be published to the general public to see what they feel. But it's going to be a subject that rumbles on throughout the sport. There is plenty of people on both sides whipping up right information, wrong information. I don't know. I just don't know. The one thing that we do know for a fact, that the numbers are very, very low of transgender women in sports. Yes, things change. In the future, that may become more and more prevalent. But at this early stage, in the identity wars for themselves and within themselves, it's going to be difficult not to find a category of where they fall in. There should be no categories, to be honest. All sports should be inclusive. You put a football down anywhere in the world and everyone kicks the ball. Rugby league needs to keep its inclusivity. There's only a small bit left that we haven't covered, and that small bit is transgender. I'm going to end it there. I want your comments below. Tell me what your thoughts are. Mine are just my opinions. Some of the stuff are reported by other news cycles. But please be nice to everyone. Also, please stay safe. I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in the next episode.